Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called How Rich is Norway? So a lot, I would say. I think it's one of the richest countries, right? Not even just in Europe, I think like in general in the world. I think they're one of like the richest countries. At least that's what I believe. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. I think they got their money like from oil, I think, right? If I'm not mistaken. And I think probably we're going to be, I don't know, we're going to be learning more about like how rich they are. So it's going to be like rubbing it in our faces a little bit. I don't know. But I'm excited. So let's check it out and comment, like, and subscribe.
You are watching Places. Every Tuesday, we bring you an insightful look into fascinating events from all around the world. Calm, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Hello Aluxers, and welcome back for another exciting original video brought to you by our team here at alux.com.
This is actually
Norway
beautiful.
is a fascinating country for many reasons. It's freezing cold, they have some of the highest tax rates in the world, and the cost of living is also sky high. Yet Norway has been consistently recognized as one of the best places to live for many years.
Because everyone's
What's their secret? Well, the wealth of the nation plays no small part in the happiness of its people. And today we're going to explore just how rich Norway really is. But first, let's cover. The Kingdom of Norway is located in northwestern Europe and is bordered by Sweden, Finland, and Russia. Norway has 63,000 miles of coastline, which is the second most in the world behind Canada. Norway is a constitutional monarchy that functions as a highly developed democracy. Harald V of the House of Glücksburg has been king since 1991. The Kingdom of Norway was formed in 872 and has existed continuously for over 1,145 years. Norway opted out of the European Union as a result of a referendum in November 1994. However, they still take part in the EU's single market, and they significantly contribute to the budget of the European Union.
That's crazy. Why wouldn't they?
Norway is consistently among the top-ranked happiest places to live in the world, along with Denmark and Finland. In 2017, it claimed the very top spot on the list, which is published by the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network, based on surveys conducted in 132 countries around the world. Norway ranks particularly high in the categories of freedom, generosity, honesty, health, caring, income, and good governance. They also have a strong economy, which is what we're taking a closer look at next. Norway's economy. Norway and Denmark. This economic model puts an emphasis on social equality with a comprehensive welfare system, a high rate of unionization, and strong collective bargaining policies within workplaces, meaning that employees have a significant say in salaries, working conditions, and benefits. Norway stands out among the Nordic countries because the state has a stake in a large number of the country's biggest publicly listed companies, owning a total of 37% of the Oslo stock market. The state also owns and operates some of the largest non-listed companies, including the petroleum company Equinor and the hydropower company Statkraft. Norway is blessed with numerous natural resources, including oil and gas, fish, minerals, and forests. They're the second largest exporter of seafood behind China, and they're also one of the leading petroleum exporters worldwide.
It doesn't impress me like
their overall economy has experienced modest positive growth from 2010 through 2019 and is expected to continue this trend in the years to come. The Nordic model gives plenty of opportunities for economic success to all of its citizens, but some definitely end up benefiting more than others.
Oh, that's always the case.
Countries with the most billionaires. Out of the 5.3 million people that live in the country, there are 15 billionaires. The richest person that lives in Norway is Odd Reitan, with a net worth of $6.1 billion. He's a self-made billionaire who owns one of the largest chains of grocery stores in Norway. As of 2019, there are approximately 46.8 million millionaires in the world. About 163,000 of these millionaires live in Norway. That's about 1 in every 287 people. But beyond the millionaires and billionaires, Norway is the only major Western economy where younger generations are increasing their wealth, with millennials seeing a 13% increase in disposable income in 2018. In just about every other major Western economy, millennials are not doing as well financially as the generations that came before them. The average monthly salary is around $8,000
Wow.
US, although salaries, of course, vary significantly from job to job, and a large percentage of
is that without
salaries go to taxes, which brings us to our next topic. Taxes and the welfare state. The term welfare state may create, but this is not the
No,
case
you're paying
for
it out of your
Norway.
pocket.
Their welfare system maximizes labor force participation, supports gender equality, and promotes income redistribution. It also encourages innovation by providing a social safety net for those who start businesses. In 2018, single Norwegian citizens with no children paid a personal income tax rate of 38.52%, while
Is that
married
annually?
couples with 2 children paid a tax rate of 23%, the 5th highest tax rate for this category worldwide. There's also a
but it's not even that
25%
high. It's
value-added
only a
tax
fifth.
for most goods and services. These factors
Right.
combined give Norway one of the highest cost of living
Yeah.
rates worldwide. In fact, it's the 4th most expensive country to live in behind the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, and Switzerland. However,
Bermuda
most
is expensive.
Norwegians will tell you that these taxes feel more like an investment than a burden.
that's
In
what it should
return
be.
for paying high taxes, Norwegians receive free healthcare, free education up to and including university tuition, subsidized childcare, extended parental leave paid at 80% of the normal.
See, but that's good because even though like you're spending a lot of money on taxes, I think you're also like spending less on certain things like healthcare and education, and apparently I think also like parental leave. Like you can take parental leave, so it is good at the end of the day because it's like yes, well I'm not technically like I'm paying it because I'm like the taxes are high, but also like I'm paying less money when it comes to like certain things. So I think it all evens out at the end.
Salary, paid retirement benefits. But if
Exactly.
Norway is paying out all of these
Northern
benefits,
Lights.
how much money is left over? For that, let's get to the question of the hour.
I think a lot of money because
How
that's where we have
rich
money.
is Norway?
A
In
lot.
order to
yes.
understand just how wealthy Norway is, let's start with the gross national product. Norway's nominal GDP in 2018 was just over $434 billion. The figure that is better used to measure Norway's economy is the per capita GDP, which in 2018 was $81,695 US.
I have no idea. That's
This
a lot.
is the 4th highest per
Whoa,
capita
okay.
GDP in the world, behind Luxembourg, Switzerland, and Macau. What's
Oh,
more,
very luxurious
Norway,
places.
Luxembourg, and Switzerland are the only 3 countries worldwide that have a per capita GDP above 70,000 US dollars that are
Okay.
not listed as island nations or microstates. However, a better indication of Norway's wealth is the money that they have on hand. Norway has the world's biggest sovereign wealth fund, the Government Pension Fund of Norway, totaling over $1 trillion.
I don't even know how much money
The
that
money
is.
in this fund, which was established in 1990, comes from investments made with the country's oil revenues. The fund itself is 2.7 times bigger than the entire Norwegian economy and contains enough money to hand each citizen over 180,000 US dollars. The fund
crazy.
has increased due to strategic investments in shares, property, and bonds in 77 different countries. This investment fund actually has a stake in nearly 9,000 companies in these countries.
Okay, that explains
Its biggest
the amount.
equity holdings include Microsoft, Alphabet Inc., Nestle, Apple, Amazon, and Royal Dutch Shell, which
Yeah.
certainly helps explain its massive
All huge
success.
companies.
A total of 37% of their investments are made in U.S. companies. What's more, Norway refrains from investing in companies that produce landmines, tobacco, and nuclear weapons. And in
Good.
2019, it was announced they would no longer invest in oil and gas stocks. The fund is managed by
That's surprising to me because aren't they like, don't they have a lot of oil and they have like oil companies? I'm guessing it's because they want to move past that because obviously, you know, everyone's trying to go like carbon neutral. But it's kind of like, we're not investing on those companies, but we are still producing oil. So it is like, okay, isn't that a little bit like strange? I don't know. I think it's a little bit weird.
manages bank investment management on behalf of the Ministry of Finance, but the fund is officially owned by the Norwegian people. It was put in place primarily to put Norway in a good financial position, so it didn't rely on oil revenues that would eventually dry
Exactly.
up.
That's what-
Norway
that's what it should
officially
be.
has a little over $157 billion in public debt, but they're in a net asset position, meaning
Okay.
the total financial assets of the government exceed the total
Oh,
debt.
how many countries can
Essentially,
say
they
that?
borrow money at low rates and then reinvest. Conclusion. Norway has secured its position as one of the richest countries in the world thanks in part to its high tax rates, strong economic model, and bountiful natural resources. However, the main factor in its wealth accumulation has been the strategic investment of oil revenues, which is providing economic security for many years to come, even after all the oil is depleted. Norway is
Great
indeed
mindset.
one of the happiest places to live on Earth because the government invests in its people and ensures the taxes,
More countries
high
should
as they
do
may
that.
be, benefit each citizen to the highest extent. Because of all of these factors, Norway will likely maintain its status as a
This is such a
wealthy nation
beautiful
for the
place.
foreseeable future. And Aluxers, if you're interested in learning some more about this fascinating country, check out our video, The 15 Things You Didn't Know About Norway, by clicking in the top right corner. Question. Now, as we wrap this up, we're curious. Would you mind paying much higher taxes if you received the same benefits as the Norwegians?
I wouldn't care.
Let us know what you think in the comments. And of course, for sticking with us until the end, what could that possibly mean? Here's your bonus. The Norwegians are known to be an innovative people. The inventions that have come out of Norway include
That
the
water's
cheese
so
slicer,
clear.
aerosol spray cans, paper clips, salmon sushi, and modern skiing.
Oh my!
Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos for you to watch next. As always, the conversation continues on social media. Thanks again, and we can't wait to have you back tomorrow.
Okay, so this was very, very interesting. I think like that question at the end, like I think it's very, I don't know. I think, are there people that are going to say like, no, you know what? I really do care about about higher taxes, and I don't want to have higher taxes, even though I get like the return investment. Are there people like that? Because I would think most people, if not probably everyone, they're gonna say like, I don't care if I have to pay like higher taxes because I'm seeing the benefits, which I think at the end of the day is actually what matters to you. I think people actually do complain a lot about like, oh, you know, there's like a lot of taxes, and you know the taxes are high, and obviously it's like a big thing, and people do complain a lot about this. But I think they're complaining because you're not actually seeing the results. Because if you're actually, if it's something like that, obviously I think this is like to a certain extent, I don't know, I think they're probably the only country or one of the few countries I think in the world that are like in this, that have this model. Because obviously other places do also have like higher taxes and things work properly. But I think, you know, like they said, like Norway is probably, I think, one of the countries that have like, the taxes are incredibly high. They're among the highest in the world. So I think it's a good example for this. And everything works better, and it's not just that things work properly, because again, a lot of countries actually do get to say that. But the whole like pension fund and all of that, I think, and the fact that the actual country actually does invest in, you know, they are actually like the stockholder, you know, they invest in stocks, and obviously but you know, they belong to the people. Obviously that's an outlier. But again, if you know that like your pension fund, for instance, like it's safe and the government's going to be like taking care of that, you know, in the future, and again, that the government is going to take care of a lot of things, and you're going to lead up, that's why they're happy, you know, you're going to lead like a happier life. Again, you don't really care about taxes. I think probably taxes are not like, oh my god, my number one concern, I have to pay taxes. No, because again, everything works better, you know, long term. So I don't really care. I wouldn't care about like, oh yeah, sure, the taxes are high, but you know, again, I'm seeing the results. So, you know, I wouldn't really care. And again, it's like when people do usually complain about the higher taxes, it's because you're not actually seeing the results. And even if, you know, people can, you know, the country or whatever can say, no, but hey, you know, you like, you're seeing, you know, you're paying higher taxes, but you have like this and this and that. But if people keep complaining about it, I think it's because you personally, maybe you don't get the sense of like, I'm not seeing the results of the taxes that I'm actually spending. And I think it all like boils down to that, because I think ultimately, if you're seeing the results, you're not going to complain about stuff like that. And the only, you know, I think the only actual like time and place where you're actually complaining about this is because you're not feeling happy about like where your taxes go. or you're not actually seeing the money that you spend on taxes, you're not seeing it like reflected back to you of like, I'm not seeing actual like results. So I think mostly it's because of that. When people complain about the taxes, it's because you're not actually seeing in your daily lives like how, well, I'm paying a lot, but I'm not actually seeing it. So I think that's ultimately the case, and it's not about like how much you pay, and it's more about like if you're actually seeing it surrounded, and does your lifestyle improve, or again, like are stuff like healthcare paid off, or college or education. So I think ultimately that's the case. And again, I don't really think that anyone's gonna say no, I wouldn't want to, I don't want to spend, like, I'd rather have like less taxes, but I'm gonna have to like pay stuff out of my pocket. It's like, no, again, it's like, it's better, this system is better. Like, yes, you're paying a lot, but stuff is just like taken care of, so you don't really have to care, and you don't have to like worry about certain things. And apparently, again, I don't know, it always is a personal choice, I get it, but I think most people are gonna say like, I don't really care. And not just that, but I think history probably, or most people would agree, given the fact that apparently in the like they made surveys or whatever, and people in Norway are happier. So obviously, like, the system works, like it is probably better for them, but I do really think it's like a good system. I will say that watching the video, all the I get it, like the country actually, and it's like the Ministry of Finance. Obviously I'm guessing, obviously they have like one person, but it's obviously a team that actually decides to invest on certain companies, and they're probably they're the ones saying, yes, we're going to invest in this and this, we're going to buy some stock, we're going to sell some stock. I don't really know much about like the stock market, but I think it's something of the sort. But my point is that I was watching it and I was like, what? I would be so scared of like working at something like that, because obviously I'm guessing it's a team, it's a board that actually decides like what's a good choice. Like, hey, yes, I think we have like a good company here, and I think we should invest. Or the opposite, I think this country is losing, this company is losing money, I definitely think we should like sell those stocks. It's like a stockbroker, but I guess the system is probably the same. I don't know. I would love to know how it works, because with stockbrokers, like, they usually handle, obviously, it varies, like you have like this person as your client, but here it's like your client are like, it's the whole country. It's like a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. Even I would feel like a stockbroker, you're kind of like playing a little bit with fire. I don't know, it's like this people's like future is in my hands. At least that's how I feel. I don't know if they feel the same, but I think I would feel, again, it's like a little bit of like, this is a lot of responsibility, because a lot of people, again, in usual, like in normal other places, people that are looking to invest, a lot of people are putting a lot of like stock onto like, this is my retirement fund, and I'm gonna invest on that. They probably have it. They probably have even their retirement. It's on stocks, and obviously because I can't really. This is a full-time job of like tracking the market. I can't really do that. So, I'm putting my trust in you that you actually are able to handle it, because you have the information, like, what's good and what's bad, and B, obviously you have the time to actually track the thing, and because again, it's like a full-time job, and I can't, because I do other things with my life. So I'm not an expert, and I don't really have time, and that's why I'm trusting you to actually, to do what's best. So it is, in a way, you have their lives, it's on you. But in this situation, I would assume like it's a pretty stressful job, because it is like, imagine a whole country, like there's like how many citizens, and it's on your hands. And again, it's not just one person. I think that obviously, again, it's like the Ministry of Finance, but it's not, they're not like taking those decisions and in a room like with themselves. No, obviously they have advisors. There's like a whole team. But I don't know. I think it would be, it's kind of like weird. Like, it was a gamble, I think I have to say. I think they started like the early 90s. I'm guessing, people, they were like, this seems like a good idea. But that was a huge risk. Like, it could have gone terribly wrong, I believe, because what happens if you make like one bad investment? Is it like, you don't really care, and probably they have made bad investments like in the past, that you don't really get to like hear about them, because they have like so much talk, they're like companies, and they made like so many good investments that at the end of the day, everything evens out, and you're not really seeing it. So like Norway lost such a huge amount of money. No, you're not really seeing it, because even though if they have probably made bad investments, it's not reflected on like on the GDP or something, because again, they have like so many other things are, they have invested in other companies, and they also have like the oil thing that you're not actually seeing it. But I would love to know if they actually have, they fumbled something. Like, no, you know what, that was a bad call, that was a bad choice. I said, hey, let's invest in this company, this seems like a great idea. And like 3 years later or whatever, like the company went bankrupt, or you lost a lot of money. I don't know. I would like to hear like not the success stories, but also like the failure stories, just because again, it can't have gone like it's been what, like 30 off years. They have to have, they like something must have gone wrong at some point. It's not that I'm like being negative, but again, I think it's more, I think it speaks probably highly, maybe highly, I don't know. Like, it's a good thing that if they have had failures in the past, because it speaks like, no, it's good. It speaks actually that I think it's quite encouraging. It's like, we've made bad choices, but look at us. Like, we're still like among like the richest countries in the world. So I think it's encouraging the fact like one bad choice or a couple of bad choices, it doesn't mean like, oh, it's lost, everything's lost, forget about it, like it's over. It's like, no, not necessarily. Again, it's like you can actually, there's some failures along the way, but I think what matters is that you make better choices in the future. But yes, of course, we're gonna have like bad investments along the way, and they have, apparently, I think, would love to know. But at the end of the day, like, we have managed to come around like victorious about this. So I would love to know like the actual how they take those decisions. And obviously, again, they have like financial advisors, but I would love to know like how many people actually are taking those decisions. Do they, again, like, are there people that have been around for a long time? How many of them actually are? Is it all people from Norway or Norwegians, or do they have foreigners like also, in this board? I don't know. I'm so very interested about like the whole logistics of it all, of like the board that actually makes those choices. But yes, this was incredible. And also, I have to say, all the beautiful like landscapes and all those like incredible like views are gorgeous. And that coupled along the fact of like, of course, they're rich, and apparently like people earn a lot of money. Like, I can see why people like, I want to move to Norway now. Like, look at those views, and look at like they apparently earn a lot of money. So who actually wouldn't want to live there? I don't know why actually people do not move around more often, because it seems like a perfect place to live. Maybe it's the weather, like the weather is, it's extremely cold, and people are like, I'm gonna be rich, but also I'm gonna be a little bit miserable in the whole like, it's constantly like really cold outside. So people maybe rather sacrifice the amount of money that you're earning and those incredible views for, what, maybe I'm gonna be earning a lot. Maybe I'm gonna be earning less money, but I can go outside and not freeze to death. So maybe it's, you have to like make some choices, and people are just like, no, actually, I just want to go visit. I wouldn't want to live there, even though I'm gonna be rich. But you know what? I'd rather not. But yes, this is a really great video. That was it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.